The Huffington Post just ran a story titled, "Trump Admits He Found 12-Year-Old Paris Hilton Attractive." The article was based on a Howard Stern interview where Trump said this.
Somebody who a lot of people don't give credit to, but in actuality is really beautiful, is Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton. And I've known Paris Hilton from the time she's 12.
She's hot.
Her parents are friends of mine, and, you know, the first time I saw her, she walked into the room and said, "Who the hell is that?"
Howard Stern specifically asked Trump if he was sexually attracted to Paris Hilton, and Trump replied,
"Well, at 12, I wasn't interested. I've never been into that."
Right.
They've sort of always stuck around that 25 category.
But even at 12, you were kind of like, wow, she's hot.
I saw her at 12, she was beautiful. But honestly, you know, Paris gets knocked and this and that, but she's very beautiful.
So Trump was attracted to 25-year-olds, not to 12-year-olds, although he did admit that years later he watched her sex tape.
Have you seen the video, the sex video?
I have seen it.
You did? What'd you do? You went on the internet?
It was just, yeah. Just
How did you see that? What did you do?
Melania showed it to me.
She did?
She showed it to me.
As far as I can tell, there's nothing here that would suggest that Trump found a 12-year-old Paris Hilton attractive in any sexual way. He specifically says that he wasn't into that sort of thing. But the Huffington Post headline certainly makes it sound like Trump has admitted that he was sexually attracted to a young Paris Hilton. Notice that under the "Trump admits he found 12-year-old Paris Hilton attractive" headline, we have gross. And the article begins, "Your daily dose of ugh vomiting forever comes courtesy of an old Howard Stern interview with Donald Trump." Now, I couldn't conceivably care less about defending Donald Trump, but I do care about consistency. If Huffington Post writers think it's, quote, gross for Donald Trump to say that Paris Hilton was a beautiful 12-year-old girl, why are they always ready to defend Muhammad to the death?
Donald, all right, I'm afraid to ask this question, but what would you do, Playboy put Ivanka on the cover of the magazine and she had not...
This is going to be an interesting answer.
He didn't want you to have a drink, I know it. So.
It would be really disappointing. Not really. But it would depend on what was inside the magazine.
If she posed, it would be fine, but if they put her picture on...
But it depends on what goes inside the magazine.
Well, see, that's her gripe. That's this girl's gripe.
People
assume there'll be nude photos.
Right, you do assume that with Playboy.
Okay,
but if there weren't, you wouldn't have an issue with it then. If they were using her to...
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird. Stop
You know what? You are sick.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
Well,
you're known for saying outrageous things. Well, you're known for saying outrageous things, Mr. Trump.
Who are you, Woody Allen?
They go so far as to call on Christians to accept Muhammad as a prophet. Changing our view of Muhammad so that we recognize him as a true prophet rather than discredit him as a false prophet would effectively inoculate Christians against Islamophobia and would help to establish a new paradigm of cooperative Christian-Muslim relations. But in building their case for Muhammad, they don't seem to care much about his view of little girls. Sahih Muslim 3480. It was narrated that Aishah said, "The Prophet married me when I was 6 years old and consummated the marriage with me when I was 9 years old." Sahih Muslim 3482. It was narrated from Aishah that the Messenger of Allah married her when she was 6 years old and consummated the marriage with her when she was 9 years old, and he died when she was 18 years old. What was Aishah doing when she wasn't busy being raped by her prophet? She was busy washing his never-ending semen stains. Sahih al-Bukhari 230. Narrated Sulaiman bin Yasser. I asked Aishah about the clothes soiled with semen. She replied, "I used to wash it off the clothes of Allah's messenger, and he would go for the salat, prayer, while water spots were still visible." Sahih al-Bukhari 232. Narrated Aishah, "I used to wash the semen off the clothes of the Prophet, and even then I used to notice one or more spots on them." Sahih Muslim 669. It was narrated that Aishah said concerning semen, "I used to scratch it from the garment of the Messenger of Allah." Two side questions for my Muslim viewers. First, why was your prophet always covered in semen? Aisha's like, yeah, sometimes I would wash it off, sometimes I would scratch it off, and then I would still see more semen on him when he was heading to the mosque to lead the prayers. And then I would still see more semen on him when he was heading to the mosque to lead the prayers. Do you think that's normal? Do you think normal men have to stop before they walk out the door so their child brides can scrub all the semen off their clothes? Second, why do I have to read stuff like this every time I pick up one of your sources? The early Muslim community was obsessed with sharing information about Muhammad's clothes being covered in semen and Muhammad having sex with 9 women and girls on the same day and Muhammad climbing on top of a 9-year-old girl and forcing his 50. And of course, they had to share this gem, Sahih al-Bukhari 5080, narrated Jabir bin Abdullah. When I got married, Allah's messenger said to me, "What type of lady have you married?" I replied, "I have married a matron." He said, "Why, don't you have a liking for the virgins and for fondling them?" Jabir also said, Allah's messenger said, "Why didn't you marry a young girl so that you might play with her, and she with you?" Pretty creepy. Why marry a grown woman when you can marry a little girl and fondle her?
Narrated Jabir. It was narrated from Jabir that he married a woman at the time of the Messenger of Allah, and the Prophet met him and said, "Have you got married, O Jabir?" He said, "Yes." He said, "A virgin or a previously married woman?" I said, "A previously married woman." He said, "Why not a virgin who would play with you?" I said, "O Messenger of Allah, I have sisters, and I did not want her to come between them and I." He said, "That's better then. A woman may be married for her religious commitment, her wealth or her beauty. You should choose the one who is religiously committed. May your hands be rubbed with dust. May you prosper."
Muhammad even thought of marriage when he saw a cute baby. We read in Ibn Ishaq, the apostle saw her, al-Fadl, when she was a baby crawling before him and said, "If she grows up and I am still alive, I will marry her." But he died before she grew up. Lucky girl. Keep in mind that when Muhammad says, "I'll marry her when she grows up," he means, "I'll marry her when she turns 6. Muhammad proposed marriage to a baby, had sex with a 9-year-old girl, and was a strong advocate of sexually fondling children. Sexually fondling children. So why does the Huffington Post have completely different moral standards for Donald Trump and Muhammad?
We want to know a little bit more about you guys, so we play this game here. It's called Fave 5. I'll ask the question. Ivanka, you answer first, and then Dad, you answer also. Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
There are different kinds of racists in the world. On the one hand, there are racists who know that they're racists and acknowledge that they're racists. There are people who will openly admit that they believe white people are superior to non-white people. I'm actually less concerned about these kinds of racists because you can see them coming and condemn them.